Hi, I'm Ed. This is an instructional video for the DCM Irritec filter. Let's show you a parts list that the filter comes with. When your Irritec filter comes to you, these are basically the parts that will come to you. You'll get a roll of tubing, 250 size tubing. You'll get a smaller roll of tubing, a smaller diameter size, 187 size tubing. It'll come with various fitting components to work the tubing. You'll have two Bremad valves. The Bremad valves will come to you already plumbed together with an opening sitting here with the plug, which we will plumb to, and a three-way piler selector. You'll have 4 Victaulic nipples. You'll have 8 Victaulic clamps. You'll have 4 gauges. We'll show you where these go on the filter. This is your inlet manifold. These are 2 8mm by 1/2 inch bolts. They do not come standard with it, but these are the mounting brackets for our controller. It'll come with a 1-inch air vent, and it'll come with your Irritec controller here. And on the Irritec controller, our solenoids are actually mounted to the controller unit, not to the valves. The solenoids will come plumbed together, and they will come with the fittings that are necessary for the hydraulic control water. A secondary item that you're going to want to purchase that does not come with your filter is more to do with the backflush. You're going to want to purchase a sight tube to match the size of your backflush pipe. You're going to want to purchase a gate valve for that sight tube. And you're also going to want to purchase a 3/4 inch Y filter with a gate valve 3/4 inch or a ball valve 3/4 inch, and the fittings that it takes to come out and get to 250 tubing. So now from that parts list, let's show you where all the parts to the DCM filter go. On the parts list, you saw 4 gauges. Our gauges are located here. We have 2 of them on the tank itself to show us the dirty water coming in. You'll have one located for this side of the tank. You'll have one located for that side of the tank. You'll also have a gauge up here which will indicate what the pressure is on our dirty water line coming in, and you'll have a gauge down here which is going to indicate the pressure as the water's been cleaned and it's going out. Let's talk about our Bremad valves that you saw. On our Bremad valves will come with 2. As you can see here, we've set our Victaulic fittings up, so there'll just be one Victaulic clamp, one Victaulic clamp, and here you have a gray nipple, Victaulic nipple, so it allows us to go from our Victaulic valve setup into PVC. This is just a spigot type of a nipple. Up here you'll have our controller. On the back side of our controller, you'll see where on this system we install our solenoids on the controller itself, not on the valves. So you'll have your inlet water coming in right down here from the filter on the dirty water side, and you'll have your positive water going to your valves, and this will be your discharge water to atmosphere. Your air vent is installed right here. The control water goes from here to this point right here. So your valve will come with a plug inside of it on the auto side. You'll remove that plug, and you'll take your fitting that goes to your 250 size tube. This is your water coming from your controller solenoids, and put this fitting in here to receive the water coming from the controller solenoids. When installing the Bremad valve, you got to follow your flow directional arrow. The way this valve is set up, it's a through and through valve. Our dirty water comes in, comes right down through the valve and into the tank. And then the flushing manifold side of it is on here. So you got to make sure that you're installing your valve correctly, because this valve could be flopped upside down and then it wouldn't work correctly. So remember, follow your flow directional arrow. On your material list, I told you that there's some things that you're going to want to get. One of them was that Y filter. So the inlet water is coming into the filter right here, the dirty water. We need to install this filter. I want you to install the valve first. So you'll come off of your PVC fitting with the T. The valve's installed first, so when the system's running, if we ever want to clean this filter, we can just turn this valve off and the system continue to run while we're just cleaning this simple little filter here. From the filter, we're going to bring our water source right out of the filter, and our water source is going to come and connect into our solenoids right here. Our connection point is right down here. That's going to bring our clean water in to activate our solenoids. This is our backflush. Make sure you always size your backflush for whatever size your valve is. If this is a 2-inch valve, which this one is, you want to make sure you maintain a 2-inch backflush all the way out. Now to install the valve and the sight tube. The valve and the sight tube need to always be the same size as the backflush line. Never restrict them down. You'll take the valve, you'll have a nipple in between here, and then you'll put the sight tube onto the valve. The valve is there so we can squeeze it down a little bit. That way, if we're rushing a lot of our sand out, we'll see it in the side tube and we'll be able to squeeze it down with the valve. This point right here, this is an AC/DC latching solenoid setup, so it's a battery operated controller and it runs on C batteries. And here's your port right here. You'll screw this cap off and be able to put your C batteries in to be able to run. So this is a latching solenoid system, wireless system, and it does not need 110 power to operate this controller. The last thing on hooking up our controller is to hook up the PD switch. Your red and your black tubing here, this is that smaller size tubing that I talked about. It's 187 size ID tubing. It already is plumbed inside the controller to a pressure differential switch. Okay, so the black tubing here goes to the low pressure side, which is located right here. We installed the T, and it's that T that we had installed with that pressure gauge. You can see it's smaller size tubing, that's 180 size tubing. You will run a line from this point right back up here, and it'll be the black line. The red line is for the high pressure side of the PD switch, and that is located right here. As you can see, you have the smaller size fitting. Your red line will be plumbed right from here to right there. Once you get this line and the line down below plumb with the red and the black, now your pressure differential switch is be working and your controller is ready to rock and roll. This is the spec sheet for the DCM filter. It shows you the different size filters that we have and their flow rates. It will also show you the amount of 16 silicone sand that each size filter needs. A link to this spec sheet is also in the description.